Grand rising loungers. I hope everybody's doing as great as I am this morning. Listen, guys, I do got to work this morning around 10 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and do my little hot topics this morning for you guys before I go into work. But child, there's a whole lot going on these YouTube streets, okay? Between Sean Davy Way and Official King Payne trying to prove Jaguar Wright as a scammer, okay? And then we've got Jag, on her side, saying her thing. Denot over there, standing up for her or whatever he's calling himself doing. And I got a whole bunch of stuff to say about this, okay? I actually subscribe to the receipt show over there on the Official King Payne. I did take a look at the receipts that he has, and I'm going to go over that. I'm also going to talk about Sean Davy Way and his history here on YouTube, and kind of like how things have gone with him. And also we're going to talk about Jag a little bit today. I really don't like to talk about her that much anymore, just because of how toxic, things are with her. But I'm going to talk about it today because I definitely think it's appropriate to talk about. There's a whole lot of stuff going on with these people, and I definitely think it's worth talking about today. Also, we're going to talk about a little bit of Umar Johnson and Suki Hana, her pulling up on him, and also Umar's recent interview that he did and some things that he talked about. Shout out to We On Lot, who covered that last night. There's a couple of people that have been talking about this. So I most definitely want to bring this out and talk about this because I think what Umar was talking about was very important, okay? And I definitely think it's worth talking about today. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get right into this right now. I hope you guys do sit back and relax. Make sure you guys grab up some libations. Hopefully it's some orange juice or some water, okay, or something along those lines because, it's too goddamn early in the morning to be out here drinking this morning, guys, okay? But I understand if, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, somebody want to go ahead, but child, it's way too early. So let's go ahead and get right into these hot topics right now. Grand Rising, Miss Murph, I appreciate you being in the building. And Keisha Cassels, definitely appreciate you being in the building as well. Shimmy Shake, who are you? He said, give me my wrench, lady. Okay, you got to tell me who you are, because if I think you are who I think you are, you most definitely can get a wrench, okay? Shout out to you for being in the building. And Double Exposure, definitely appreciate you as well. Let's go ahead and talk about this stuff today, okay? Now, I think I want to start with the Suki Hana and with Umar's situation, okay? Because to me, I thought it was kind of cute, okay? They both have been talking about each other. Okay, Samba, I knew that was you. I'm sick of you changing your goddamn name up and shit. I'll make sure you get that wrench later on. But you got to tell me and give me a list of the people you are so I can make sure each one of you has a wrench, okay? But shout out to my sister Samba being in the building this morning. Appreciate you, sis. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into this Suki and Umar thing, okay? Because honestly, they both have been talking about each other. He had been talking about her, and just kind of speaking on her. And at first, they were falling out. They were talking shit about each other and different things. And then eventually, they kind of came around. And Suki was talking, positively about him, and he was talking positively about her. And they just never really beefed about anything. They just kind of let things be what it is. But either way, at the end of the day, I don't really have too much of an issue with the two of them pulling up on each other and hanging out, right? I actually think it's kind of cute, and I would like to see where their friendship goes. Both of them are really interesting people, right? They tend to speak their mind and speak their speech and say what they want to say. They're also both from the same area. Suki's from Delaware, he's from Philly. So it's not, far fetched for them to kind of get along and to share the same interests and to know the same things, know even the same people, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if something actually budded from this, and that they actually, did try to start dating one another, over this. Umar be over that consciousness over cookies. He had that whole consciousness over cookies smile all on his face yesterday when he was over there talking to Suki, okay? Yes, he did, honey. He had that whole consciousness over cookies shit. But shout out to Suki because she showed up and popped up, without her usual attire like she usually would be having. She showed up pretty conscious of, what was going on. She can't help the shape of her body, and stuff like that. But she definitely covered and presented herself pretty nice. So I thought that was cool. And the whole exchange itself was pretty funny. You know what I mean? The both of them are comedians. Okay. Both of them are funny. They both can, put on a show. And I definitely thought that was great. Now, let's talk about Umar's and his recent interview that he talked about Black women and and what he basically said. I'm just going to paraphrase what he said. Is that the plight of Black women and how Black women experience the pain that we do, how we have some of us have had to become masculine and take on a masculine nature, and so forth and so on. And then there was a flip side of that where the people that were interviewing him were like, well, no, wait a minute, Black women, it's the Black woman's fault for picking Pookies and Ray Rays, right? And so forth, right? Shout out to Ray, right? But Pookies and Ray Rays, right? And how Black women is our fault for choosing such men. And so therefore, all Black men should not be held accountable for what Black women feel, right? Now, I'm on the fence about what both of them were saying, and I'll tell you guys why, okay? First of all, I think there is an element of what these young men were saying about Black women and our who we choose as a mate. I do think that there is an element of what they're saying is true, right? You can't just say, it's not our fault if a man becomes abusive or so forth and so on. That is true to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, it's important to take your time with people. This is what I've told my kids, even my son, he's dating somebody right now, but he's taking his time. And I told him, I want you to take your time because people rush into relationships without knowing one another, right? So they get into these relationships, women and men, we get into relationships with each other and we don't really know the person. So we think we're in love. We think it's this, we think it's that. And then it turns out that it's not really, 6 months or 8 months later, you find out you don't really fool with this person like that. You find out you guys don't mesh very well, right? And I think what happens with everybody, not just Black women, even though, they like to put everything on Black women. I think with everybody, just it's human nature to just do things like that instead of taking your time and take, and take time to get to know people and to, to learn whether or not you're compatible with a person, right? By casually dating them. And I think that that's important to understand when we're talking about this, because you can't just blame, Black men, for that, right? And you can't just blame Black women for that. I think that goes both ways. You have to take your time as men and women to get to know a partner before you're actually jumping in a relationship. Now, on the flip side of that, with what Umar was saying, the reason I'm on the fence with what he was saying is because I want to be very, very careful in blaming Black men for all of the pain that Black women experience, right? I think that Black men and Black women experience pain the same ways and in the same boat, in a sense, right? We're all kind of experiencing this pain and experiencing this oppression under the same white supremacist rule. We're all experiencing the very same things under the same rulings, right? It might be different degrees and different levels to it. There might be various things that happen towards women that don't necessarily happen towards men. There might be things that happen towards men that don't necessarily happen towards women. But ultimately speaking, I do not think that Umar is correct on saying that Black men need to hold the weight of what has happened with Black women. I think that white supremacy needs to hold the weight of what has happened to the nuclear Black family. That is what I think it should be. Yes, women have had to become more masculine over the years. We've had to, fight fight for our children, fight for our families. We've lost our husbands in death. We've lost our husbands to prisons. We've lost our husbands to other men, other women, and different things like that. Like, there's been a lot of things that have happened over these past few centuries, or over these past few decades, I'll say that, and particularly the past couple centuries, that, yes, has definitely affected the nuclear Black family today, right? But I think it's a little bit simpish of Umar to just jump out and say that Black men should now hold the weight of this, right? And that they are solely responsible for this. Do I think there can be changes within the Black community? Absolutely. I absolutely think that, there could be most definitely changes amongst us, and changes on how we handle one another, and things that we say to each other, being more conscious of being a part of our families, right? As opposed, and teaching our sons and daughters the same thing. And also teaching our sons and daughters how to take their time with one another, right? And not, not jump in and rush into relationships. It's important for us as the parents, as the older generation, to instill that in our families, right? And be talking about these things with our kids, and so forth and so on, and having these open discussions about these things, and not, blaming and pointing fingers at one another, but teaching them, and teaching one another to work together, right? Because at the end of the day, like I said, we're all facing the same plight. You know what I mean? So even if Black men decided to take on that full responsibility, what really can they do with that responsibility with the weight of white supremacy still over their heads, right? And with the weight of white supremacy still over our heads, okay? And I think that that is very, very important to just think about, and just giving you guys a little bit of food for thought on that. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on that, but I definitely don't necessarily agree with Umar on that. I think he's just trying to get up in the cookies, right? But at the end of the day, honestly, I think he does have a sense of feeling like that. I do think he feels, a sense of responsibility, in a sense, over this. I think a lot of Black men have felt that same responsibility. Shout out to, I did a video the other day on Dean O'Connor, from H-Town, who passed away several years ago. But he also had attempted to change up how he was presenting his music, because he wanted to present a softer side. he was aware of how the industry has, constantly sexualized Black women, has constantly, down degraded Black women, called us all kinds of names and all kinds of stuff. And the only thing we're good for is twerking and all that, and sexualizing us and, and so forth. And he wanted to change that. He wanted to be much kinder to Black women and speak in a different tone, and talk about things different. And the industry gave him a very hard time about that. As a matter of fact, a lot of artists have complained about this thing, that they've tried to put out more positive music. Even Cardi B had talked about attempting to put out more positive music, and the industry just doesn't. They just won't. They won't promote it, right? And so, it's not, like I said, it's not a thing that I think we can honestly just point fingers at each other and do. We have to look at the bigger picture. And even Umar, out of all people, I would think he would be looking at the bigger picture with this, right? Because he oftentimes talks about the bigger picture and talks about, how the weight of white supremacy is what's, is what's oppressing all of our people, right? All at the same time. There's no differences with that. Even though that we have some levels and different things that may occur, but it's all in the same boat, right? So, but either way, I just wanted to touch bases on that real quick. And but shout out to Umar and those young bloods for having that conversation, at least opening that door, and talking about this, because I think, it just kind of sparked multiple conversations across the board, and different people have different opinions about it. Shout out to Hood Conservative. He was definitely talking a little bit about this yesterday. And yeah. So anyway, guys, let me go ahead and get to y'all comments real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and start talking about Sean Davy Way and them and what is going on with these niggas, okay? Because they is out here tripping, okay? And then we're going to talk about this this Philadelphia petition as well. I'm actually going to read the petition to you guys so y'all can see exactly what's being said and what's going on with this situation. I don't know why my StreamYard be doing this, y'all. It always tries to go really slow at some point. So either way, I'm going to go ahead. Let me go ahead and get my phone. Let me put y'all, well, bear with me just a moment, guys. I'm going to put y'all on a quick timer because I need to get my my other device, because this ain't going to work for me. All right, guys, so I'm going to look at the comments real quick, and then we're going to get over to the conversation about Sean Davy Way and the official campaign and Jaguar Wright, okay? Because, child, they doing way too much out here, okay? Way too much out here. But anyway, I appreciate all of you for being in the building. Okay, and Samba, I'll be sure that you get all, I need all my names, okay? So I need all your names, okay? You say you're trying to get me to reveal all my altars. Well, the ones that you use over here, yes, okay? And I definitely appreciate you, sis, for being in the building. What's up, Hood Conservative? Appreciate you being in the building. He said, salute, T-Pre. Salute to you, too. You said, Double Exposure said, it started with Suki putting him in her song. Yep. You said, Hood Conservative. Umar won that debate. Dude didn't argue his points well. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, Double Exposure said those guys in that interview refused to get what he was saying, which is there shouldn't be a Pookie and Ray Ray in the community. Oh, yeah, I do agree with that. Now, I absolutely do agree with that. But like I said, you guys, y'all know me and my whole idea of what has happened in our community, right? And the thing, like, to me, I look at the bigger picture, and I look at a deeper picture on things, and how, it's, we always blame one another for everything. And sometimes it's literally the circumstances that we have. Now, I'm not saying that, there aren't actual Pookie and Ray Rays out here who just want to be Pookie and Ray Ray, right? Because that's definitely true. But like I said, I think it's a deeper picture when you're talking about cleaning up these things and cleaning up the community. It's going to take more than just pointing fingers and talking about one another. We actually got to come in and break some systems and break some real life situations that we're dealing with. And until we're able to do that, I think we're always going to have Pookies and Ray Rays and LaQuishas in the community. You said he was saying Black men in general need to get more involved in the youth in the community to prevent the rise of Pookies and Ray Rays. And I agree with that. I do agree with that. Now, like I said, I don't necessarily disagree with everything he said. I just disagreed with the fact that women or Black women and the plight of Black women is on just strictly the shoulders of Black men. I think we have to look at a bigger picture with this and why we have experienced all this over these centuries, and how this has kind of tumbled into what we're dealing with today. You said Umar is a mess child. He did a live stream in bed yesterday. He looked like a broke down D'Angelo, and he shouted out his Black queens while rubbing below his waist seductively. Shimmy Shake, I know you was watching that shit. Shout out to you, sis, but he ain't shit. You heard Conservative says, Shimmy Shake, LOL. Double Exposure says, his main thing was that Black men have to take the lead. He acknowledges the major role of white supremacy. Okay, good. I'm glad that he at least could acknowledge that. But yeah, I do think that he's right. If Black men would take more of a role of leadership within the community, I do think that there would be a lot less issues in the community. I have had even conversations on how, right? The hows that this can be done, how policing our own neighborhoods by Black men and Black women is essential for us to move forward, right? And how we, not that we need to work with the police, right? But we need to police our own neighborhoods, right? Police our own communities, and that is very possible. And there's ways we can do that, but it's a matter of having these conversations. So I absolutely do agree with him on that. But I think that it's going to take a little bit of tweaking to get that done. He said facts double. Shimmy says facts double exposure. I think he wasn't judging all Black men for all pain experienced by Black women. He was speaking to Black men's unwillingness to accept their role in the problem. Okay. So perhaps I looked at that wrong, but that was what I got out of it. And double exposure, you said balance the unbalanced by being the leaders that is needed in the community so women can be the nurturers. Yep, I agree, because that's who we all are by nature, right? And double exposure, you said that is why Black community has to organize to overthrow white supremacy. It can't be our perpetual obstacle. Exactly, that's true. But that's what I mean about, we need to have those types of conversations about getting rid of this issue, because that is an issue, right? That is going to always be there. And until that's there, until that's removed, we're going to keep running into all these problems, right? Because these are all symptoms of white supremacy. The Pookies, the Ray Rays, these are all symptoms of that. As much as we want to blame one another, these are all symptoms, right? Poverty, all these things are symptoms of white supremacy. So the ultimate goal is to get rid of the problem, right? If you have like a disorder, you have to either get rid of the disorder or you have to suppress the disorder in order for you to keep moving forward and in order for the body to become healthy again, right? That is the only way that that's going to move forward. As long as we are, we have all these ideas and we have all this stuff that we think we need to do. And, but as long as we have that over our heads, we're never going to move forward, not the way we need to. And so, and that's just my opinion of it. Shimmy says, T-Pre, all need to be willing to play their proper role, right? We can't give in to defeatist attitudes that continue to allow white supremacy to be used as a pass for Black men being doo-doo heads systemically. Well, I mean, I think that's subjective, right? Because to me, I don't think that it's a pass. I think it's really a real thing. You know, I think even if all black men in the world, you even act like Pookie and Ray Ray, if every black man in the world came under, under an understanding of all this, right? It would still take the effort of all black people and others to overthrow white supremacy, right? So even if every black person acted a certain way that we all agree on, right? That's still not going to stop white supremacy from oppressing our people, okay? Which is what's causing the symptoms that we're seeing in each other. That's just the bottom line. So as long as we have the problem, we're going to keep having the symptoms, right? It's not so much a pass, it's we have to get rid of the problem. Like as long as we're not getting rid of that problem, we're going to keep having this problem. And that's just what I think. You said, Double Exposure said, the bag comes with the raunchiness, which is why we must build our own and set our own standards. I absolutely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But where and in what space well, we can do it, right? It's just a matter of everybody waking up and everybody overthrowing that, right? And it's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner than later. But it's going to take that. You said Shimmy Shake thumbs up. Shimmy Shake said, thank you, Double Exposure. All this new age bullying got these folks all backwards. You said Shimmy Shake's facts. Double Exposure says, I want to get back to ASS. She's real bothered, and you can tell when she lashes out. Oh, you know it, child. We're going to get back to her. Shout out to the people I spoke with yesterday, Alan and some other folks. We are most definitely on that ass on AAS. Okay, honey? Don't worry, baby. We got this. We got this. We got this. Double Exposure says, T-Pre, circumstances definitely play a role. However, we cannot sit there. I agree with that. And I'm not sitting there, right? I hope that y'all don't think that I'm just staying in this space. I want you to understand when I'm talking about white supremacy, I'm talking about it in the sense of it needs to be removed, right? I've had multiple conversations on how to get this done. I've had multiple conversations on what we need to do as the community to get together, create our own communities, police our own communities, and certain other things, growing our own food and other things. I've talked about a lot of this stuff, right? So I'm not just blaming white supremacy. I'm actually trying to make moves to get rid of the problem, right? I'm actually putting out, things in the universe and speaking on things on how to get rid of this issue. You know what I mean? And everybody rise up together. I've talked about how it's going to take the entire community to do this, and it's going to take other demographics as well to get on board, right? I've talked about a lot of this stuff. So, but shout out to you, but I don't want y'all to think that I'm just complacent with white supremacy and I'm just going to, well, we got white supremacy. So, everybody just go ahead and keep on doing what you're doing because we got white supremacy. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is we need to stop blaming and pointing fingers at this point, and we need to do something about the problem because that's still the problem. And even if we all cleaned up all of our quote unquote act, right? And we all got it all together, white supremacy is still there, right? It's just like, even if I put on an ACE bandage and I take some pain medicine and I lay down and go to sleep, if my ankle is broken, my ankle is broken. You understand what I'm saying? If it has to be reset, it has to be reset. If I have to go get a cast for it, I have to go get a cast for it. I can't just look at it and hope and you blame this and blame that and blame my sandals and blame how I was walking and blame my flat foot and blame this and blame. I got to fix the problem because if I don't actually fix the problem, I'm still going to have the problem, right? Regardless of what I want to blame and what I want to try to patch up and what I want to try to fix. If I don't fix the actual problem, the problem is still going to be there, right? And so I think we should have more conversations about that as opposed to, who's the issue, you know what I mean? And who should hold responsibility and all this other stuff. I'm not saying that we shouldn't hold responsibility for things. I'm not saying we shouldn't have these discussions, but I don't think we should just stay there. And I think we most definitely need to look at the bigger picture of why these symptoms are here, right? And what we're going to do about the problem so we can now treat the symptoms. You know what I mean? Because ultimately we got to fix the problem before we start treating the symptoms, you know? Oh, one of your comments was missing. So hold on, Samba. Let me show that. Okay, you already checked that. White supremacy isn't what has men sexting out hoes and making bashes in every community. Laughing my ass off. Well, I don't know. I think that could be a symptom of it. You said everybody is not going to wake up. Some are just set in their ways. Like-minded have to organize. You're right. You're right about that double exposure. That's absolutely true. You said, how can the Black community fix white supremacy? So I didn't say that. What I said was it's going to take more than just the Black community. I've said that it's going to take multiple demographics to do this. It's going to take multiple people. As a matter of fact, in one video, I had talked about how it's going to take every race to be on the same page. I'm not saying that, you know, this is necessarily every person in the world, right? But it's going to take multiple demographics to actually take down this system. And it's going to, you know, it's going to happen. You know, it'll happen over time, but it's definitely going to happen. And people are waking up to that. But either way, guys, let's go ahead and get into this because I wanted to talk about this whole thing before I get up off of here. You said, T-Pre, you wild and nobody give a fuck about us. Okay, well, I don't know about that. I don't know how true that is. I think that that is true to a certain, but I don't know how 100% true that is. But either way, guys, let's go ahead and move on to this situation with Sean Davy Way and with the official King Payne and with Jaguar Wright, okay? Because, child, I think this shit is crazy, okay? This shit is absolutely nuts, what's going on with them. Now, I'm going to tell y'all why I think this is crazy, okay? Because it was like months ago where Jag was going through this whole thing with Legina Gold and all this other stuff. And she had, you know, was trying to get this girl, you know, who was claiming that she was the daughter of R. Kelly and Aaliyah. You know, it was Sean Davy Way that introduced this girl to YouTube, right? She was already on TikTok. She was already on Instagram. But he's the one that introduced her to YouTube. When she got to YouTube, everybody was on that story, right? Everybody was like, what is going on? I had picked up the story. There were multiple people that were talking about this. And then came Jag into, you know, because she was already hanging out with Sean Davy Way, right? Already hanging out with the official King Payne. And here she came in this whole thing. And she picked up the story, right? So Jag gets her and gets the girl. I think we all remember and know what happened with Legina Gold and how she done came down here and came down there and got with Jag and all that stuff. And she was running around with Jag with all their bullshit, right? But here's the problem. And I think this is the biggest issue that I'm having with Sean Davy Way right now, okay? And I'll get into the official King Payne in just a second. But I want to talk about Sean Davy Way for a second, okay? I'm having a problem with how he's handling this for the simple fact that he had no problem with any of this stuff while any of this was going on and while Jag was his friend. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't give some pushback to Jag because I think he did. I think he gave more pushback to Jag than King Payne did, for sure, okay? But I don't think he pushed back enough. As a matter of fact, when other people were talking about this very same thing, that Philadelphia was a scam, that you know, all these other things that's going on with Jaguar, you know, is crazy. Sean was pushing back on his own people. He was blocking people. He was doing the most, okay? And, you know, and still standing up for Jag and saying that that was his friend and everything else. There was a time where he did back off and he started saying, you know, hey, I don't want nothing to do with any of this stuff, especially with the Legina Gold thing. It was like, you know, hey, I don't want nothing to do with this. I don't want it to seem like I'm actually trying to, you know, stand on, or I'm actually trying to take advantage of anybody or anything like that. I don't want nobody to think that. So I'm gonna just let y'all, just go ahead and do you, right? And that was kind of his, and y'all, if y'all gonna do that, I don't want no parts of that. And that was kind of his thing with the situation. And then, King Payne kind of just kept it and picked it up and sped off with it from there. Okay. Now they were both in on it at first, and then King Payne just took it on. And then, Jag was going over there all the time. And then, she was coming back to Sean and this and this and this. Both of them were raising money on behalf of Jag. Okay. Both of them were doing that. Now, I know that Jag was saying Jag is now saying that, she didn't get a lot of this money that Sean Davy Way and King Payne had raised. Okay. She's now claiming that she really didn't get much of that, that she didn't get, most of that money, and she doesn't know what happened to it. Right. They were saying that they gave her all the money and that it was a certain amount and that, that this is what she got and so forth and so on. I really don't comb through all these videos all the time. If I'm going to watch King Payne, I'll watch him. I'd rather watch him on Patreon or watch him on Twitch because he doesn't take nearly as much time to talk about whatever he needs to say, right? When he's on YouTube, for some reason, them videos drag out for 3, 4, 5 hours long and stuff. And most of it is a bunch of like music in the beginning and, and just a whole bunch of fluff. And then you got to kind of figure out where he's actually talking about anything, right? Or talking about the subject that he's supposed to be talking about. You got to comb through it and figure out where it's at and everything else. And, it's just full of a bunch of stuff. So it's kind of difficult to follow them on YouTube, right? And to know exactly what they're talking about all the time. People got shit to do. I know that Sean has like kind of shortened his videos a little bit. He's been doing more hour-long or hour-and-a-half long videos, but Official King Payne's videos on YouTube are just way too long, and it's kind of difficult to follow through, right? And to kind of hear, what's going on and all that other stuff. So either way, the bottom line is this: I have an issue with how they're handling this now, right? Because neither one of them had a problem with how Jag was doing things and what Jag was doing, at least to what they're saying now, until she turned against them, okay? And she started fucking with Denat, right? So, a lot of people don't fool with Denat. I don't really care for Denat myself. There was a time where I didn't have a problem with him. Now it's like he just seems very toxic, and I'm just not interested, right? But, he's definitely teamed up with Jag and TJ over, this whole situation. And now they want to fall out with her, right? It's like this fight over Jaguar Wright for some reason out here in these YouTube streets. People just want to fight over her like they own her, like they own the rights to her. And they're not the only ones that have done this, right? We've had people to the likeness of Nosy Ho fall out with people over this. We've had, what's that guy's name? King World fell out with people over this. You know what I'm saying? Like people are just falling out all over the place. This is why I really don't like to talk about Jag like that anymore, because it's childish, right? And everybody's talking about the same things. You end up seeing the same people on the same panels. They all talk about the same shit, and it's always the same shit over and over again, right? So I have picked and chose 1 or 2 people that I go and listen to. Shout out to Let Me See Your Transcript. I generally do get my updates on Jag and TJ from her, right? I might get a couple things from Sean every now and then, and I'll go over there to some other places too, right? But I'm having an issue with how they are now approaching this because, like I said, neither one of them had a problem with her allegedly scamming or any of this stuff before this, right? As a matter of fact, it was to the level that both of them were promoting Dalladelphia. We're telling people, make sure you subscribe over to Dalladelphia TV. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. We're going to get these. We're going to get that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And now that y'all money has dried up, right? Now that y'all not making them cash apps, Y'all not making them super chats. Y'all not getting that money from them t-shirts. Y'all not getting any of that, right? Now, and now it's going to deny. Now y'all want to go on a campaign against Jaguar, right? Like, I think this is fucking hilarious, like, honestly, okay? So let's go ahead and read this petition, okay? Which is Stop and Ban Philadelphia, and it's for Sean Davy Way. They are looking for 1,000 signatures, and so far, they have 667 signatures, okay? Now, what they're trying to say is that Philadelphia TV is a scam, and that, people are complaining that when they put in their credit card or debit card information, that they are constantly being charged. And, when they try to cancel it, they're still being charged. So let me give you guys a little bank 101 on that, okay? Because it really ain't that deep, okay? First of all, if that is really happening to you, you probably didn't cancel it, okay? But if you did cancel it, then it's very simple. You just need to prove that you cancel it, okay? Which is very easy to do. And then you need to contact your bank and let them know that this company is still charging me, even though I canceled this service. Your bank is going to go through that dispute process. It could take it could take 30 days. It could take 60 days. It might take 90 days. It depends on your bank. And it might take a little bit longer depending on the amount, right? Now, what they're going to do is they're going to go through the process. It will be up to Philadelphia's bank, or the bank of that company, to prove that this is a valid and legitimate charge, okay? If they can't prove it and you have the proof that you canceled it, then they are on the hook for returning that money. It is that simple. These are bank rules, okay? These are federal guidelines that every bank in the U.S. must follow. So as long as she has a bank in the U.S., okay, these are the federal guidelines that they must follow in order to, when it comes to disputes, okay? All you got to do is call your bank and dispute the damn charges, okay, if you feel like this is a problem. Now, if you didn't actually cancel it, okay, and you just wanted it to be over, and now you want your money back, that's a different thing, okay? But if you canceled the service, like say I subscribed to Philadelphia today, and I go in and I'd find out I don't like it, and so I cancel it, right? And then they charge me next month as well. Now I can take that to my bank and be like, hey, I canceled this service. I'm going to need my money back. And they're going to file a dispute for you under canceled service, okay? Now, if I can't prove that I canceled it, then that would be a different story. So what I'm thinking is happening is some of y'all went and subscribed to Philadelphia, and then you found out it was a scam, and you just never canceled the service. You just thought if you didn't give and present your credit card again next month, you weren't going to get charged, not realizing that it's a recurring charge, okay? And so now you got charged again, or you found out a few months later you were still getting charged, right, over and over again for this Philadelphia, and it turns out you didn't want it, and now you crying wolf, oh, she scammed me. No. You should have canceled it, right? When you realized it was a scam and you realized you didn't like it, you should have canceled it so it doesn't recur as a charge, right? But since you didn't do that, now you're on the hook for whatever you paid out to her, okay? Because the bank doesn't generally get involved in that, right? That the bank won't get involved in whether or not, you like the service or all that stuff and everything else. That's kind of something they'll take the dispute, but you liking a product, is different from, and I'll say this, there's two things with that. That can be disputed too, depending on one thing. If you weren't delivered what you expected, right? Like if I purchase it could be anything. If I purchase a vehicle, right, and I can't even say that. Let me think of something else. Okay, I'll use Philadelphia for instance, right? Say I went in and I expected, Jag had said, I'm going to get a concert. I'm going to get some tickets to this. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that if I subscribe to Philadelphia, right? and then I subscribe to Philadelphia and I don't get the product that I expected, right? I can go to my bank and say, hey, I didn't get what they expected. They told me I was going to get this, I was going to get that, and that's not what happened, right? And, I'd have to have as much details as possible, and I'd have to kind of prove that. And then once I do that, again, the bank will take that dispute. The bank will go to the other bank, and they will have to prove from the other bank that they delivered a product, that their client delivered a product that they claimed they were going to deliver. If they can't prove that, then yeah, the bank may actually hold them liable and actually have them pay that back. Okay. So that is kind of on the fence as well. But you got to be careful with that because, again, you can't let just a whole bunch of time go by where you're just paying and paying and paying and paying and paying. And then, you want to complain about the product way after the fact, right? Yeah, you gotta be proactive with that. So if it was something that you had a problem with, you got to say something right away to the bank, right? Like, hey, I ordered a pair of Nikes and they say Psyches, right? Or something like that. Take a picture of it and send that. That all goes with the dispute. They go over there, they go to Nike and they say, hey, this person ordered a pair of Nikes. It don't say that. What y'all gonna do, right? And that's kind of how that goes. So I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of that and how that's been happening and what I think is why people are complaining about their money being stolen from Philadelphia. Okay. It's not necessarily that, but people signed up for it. I did. I also even signed up myself for Philadelphia when it first started. And I quickly, got myself up out of there. Right. I quickly got myself up out of there because I realized she wasn't delivering half of what she said she was going to do, right? I could have went through the bank and disputed that, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal when I can just not subscribe again next month, right? I can just, unsubscribe. And that's what I did. I canceled, the Philadelphia. So anyway, this was started by Sean Davy Way, and this was started on July 30th, 2023. It says Philadelphia is stealing money from consumers. Philadelphia was created by Jacqueline Wright and Gerald Johnson, whom are in a destructive and toxic marriage. Now, here's my thing, right? You ain't even worried about their destructive and toxic marriage because you were blaming Gerald for all of the problems just not that long ago, right? Now that Jaguar is hanging out with Donat and not fucking with Sean, now they both are destructive and in a toxic marriage, right? And he was up here, up in the relationship between her and TJ. So he ain't have no problem with that. But now they in a toxic marriage, right? They created the website in hopes that Jacqueline Jaguar Wright would do TV shows as well as performing music and other art by not only her, but other content creators. Jacqueline started shows on her website and had other content creators promote shows she never brought onto the website. Jacqueline promised multiple content creators $5,000 contracts to have their own show on Philadelphia and never paid the creators. Roku has a deal with Philadelphia, and this petition is encouraging Roku to remove Philadelphia from their site. Philadelphia is misleading and has no content on the website. Therefore, customers are being charged $9.99 a month, recurring with no option of canceling and no content to watch. As of now, a high percentage of Philadelphia customers are consistently being charged till this day, which is unfair with no way out of payment. That is a damn lie. I'm sorry. That is a lie. Like I said, there are federal guidelines on how banks handle disputes, okay? So if people are being charged and they're still being charged and still being charged, it is their fault. It's their fault. It's because they're not contacting their bank and they're not telling their bank, I don't have any way of canceling this. I don't know what's going on. I've been trying to cancel. The bank is going to send you a new card. They're going to, they'll cut the card off. They'll send you a new card and they'll make sure that that particular card cannot go into a recurring state. You can go right into the system, into Visa systems, and there's a little button you can click, and that card will not go or will not continue on with the next new card that you get. Okay, yeah, that could be done. Okay, you're talking to somebody's banker. I'm just letting you know. Yeah, that could be done. Okay. So if anybody is still being charged $9.99 a month, it's because you're not being proactive in getting that stopped. Okay. Now, I personally was able to cancel. I saw a couple other people. There was somebody on shout out to AT2. There was a lady who talked about it as well. She said she had gotten like 3 charges and then she finally canceled the service. And when she canceled, AT2 specifically asked her, well, were you charged again? She said, no, I wasn't either, right? Because I canceled it. Okay. So if y'all are still being charged, it's because you're either not canceling it or you're not calling your bank or you just don't know what you're talking about and you just talking shit. Okay. There's no way any bank is going to be willing to do that. Okay. They are most definitely going to be held liable by the federal government if they're just running around here and they're just letting that happen and nobody is doing anything about it, right? It is by law, a bank must take a dispute from you. So that doesn't mean that they have to follow through with your dispute. That doesn't mean that your dispute is going to be honored, but they must take the dispute at least, okay? So why you're not, being proactive and calling your bank and doing something about that, I have no idea, okay? And then he says that, he said the thing about Jacqueline promising multiple content creators $5,000 contracts to have their own show on Philadelphia and never paid the creators. Well, I mean, we know Jag is broke. I don't know where they thought she was going to get that from. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that actually believed that and went along with it, I don't know why they did, right? I don't understand why they thought Jaguar would have even can afford $5,000, to pay anybody to be a content creator on Philadelphia. You know what I mean? I'm not really sure, but either way, now I do believe that Philadelphia is in fact misleading. Okay. I will say that. I do think that it is misleading. I think that she did say some things and said that and promised to deliver some things that she just did not, right? First of all, she has spent a great deal of time on Sean Davy Way and Official King Payne's show, wasting the time of the people, getting locked up, doing this, doing that. So has she ever had time to do anything with Philadelphia TV, right? Like, I don't really necessarily think so. And that's probably why there hasn't been much content on there. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's, a voluntary space. It's not like, this is prison and somebody's forcing you to be part of Philadelphia. You can most definitely dispute those charges and most definitely do something about that. Okay. So, yeah, but either way, it says as of now, I think I read that part about how there's a high percentage of Philadelphia customers are consistently being charged to this day, which is unfair. With no way out of the payment. That is a damn lie. We are pleading with Roku to remove Philadelphia from their brand and ask anyone who can help remove the Philadelphia website. We thank you for all your support with this petition and special thanks to change.org. Now, I don't know. I don't know if Roku would be willing to do that or not. I don't even know if this is even going to reach Roku, whether they're going to care, or so forth and so on. Roku and other companies like this tend to do things based off of business, based off of business moves. So if Philadelphia turns out not to be profitable for them, or if it turns out to be, something that would cause them to lose money, I think they would be more than willing to, jump in and say, okay, we'll stop all this, right? But if they're not really losing any money, if it's not affecting their bottom line, I doubt if this petition is going to do anything with this. I'm being honest, right? But like I said, y'all are stretching this whole thing to begin with, okay? Because anybody can go and dispute a charge with their bank. And if you're not disputing those charges, that's because of you. That ain't Jag, that ain't Philadelphia, that's none of that stuff. That is you, okay? There's been times where I'll give you guys an example. I was subscribed to Lynn and Honor. I had become a member on his channel, right? And I only did it because I just wanted to I was curious about whether or not he had privated all his Umar Johnson videos, right, at the time. I was wondering if he had done that or what had happened with those videos. And that's why I went and looked. I ain't gonna lie. That's why I went over there. And then, I forgot that I was a member because I was a member under a channel that I don't generally use. And so I was a member over there, and I was moving on and just doing my thing. And then one day I seen it on my bank statement. I was like, oh shit. I forgot I was a member of his, right? So I just went in and canceled it. You know what I'm saying? And that was it. Now, if I had gotten charged again, then I would have disputed that with the bank, right? I would have been like, yo, I canceled this service on such and such a date. I always take a screenshot of something, if I do cancel, or I'll keep an email from you if you're telling me, hey, you canceled, or something like that. That's the only proof you need to show the bank, like, hey, yeah, I canceled this, right? And that would be the end of it. So sometimes you overlook things and you forget, but it is your responsibility to be proactive in that if it turns out, that you are still being charged for something that you don't want, it's not anybody else's responsibility for that. But yeah, I absolutely do think that Philadelphia is a scam, right? I do. But I also think that Sean Davy Way played a major role in that. Okay. I think that he played a major role in his audience jumping on this situation with Jag and following this story, right? I think that Official King Payne did the same thing. They played a major role in why Jag is so big now, okay? And why, she's being talked about every damn day out here on YouTube, okay? Let's be real, okay? Let's be honest. Y'all two are the major reason why she had such a platform. And even when she was fucking up, even when Night and Day Network stopped fucking with her and, others had stopped fooling with her, y'all were still pressed to have her on y'all show. Y'all were still pressed to get every jail phone call, every video, everything that's going on. Every time she was in rehab, y'all were right there. Y'all was bailing her out of jail, all kinds of stuff. And now that she ain't fucking with y'all and y'all ain't making that money and she over there with the knot, now y'all in y'all bag. You know what I'm saying? And now y'all want everybody to fight Jag and come for Jag and cancel Jag and do this and do that. If we got to cancel Jag, we got to cancel the two of y'all too. And that's on God, okay? If we got to cancel Jag, we got to cancel Sean Davy Way and the Official King Payne as well, okay? Because they were spearheading and made Jag as big as she is on YouTube now. They did it. They did that. I'm not saying that there weren't other people, that partook in this and everything else. No. They were the biggest platforms and she had the most room to speak on those two platforms, okay? Even when their own audience was fighting against them, they were blocking their own audience members, disrespecting their own members, their own audience, right? Coming for their own people, snapping out on their people because they were telling them, about Jag. And they had an issue so much to the point where, they would snap out on you in the middle of the show, talk shit about you in the middle of the show, block you, all kinds of crazy shit. If you said anything about their quote unquote friend, right? They friend, right? Yeah. Now y'all can't stand the bitch because she don't fuck with y'all and because she fucking with the knot. Let's be real. Let's be real. And you and y'all likeness, all of y'all have been literally fighting over Jag for these past few months. If one person talks about it, you can't talk about it. I talk about it. It's kind of how it was with Nature Boy, right? How King World felt like the Nature Boy subject belonged to him and nobody else out here on these YouTube streets can talk about can talk about Nature Boy. And if they did, especially if it was a female, here come King World snapping out and talking shit and doing all this fuck shit, and all this extra shit, like as if nobody else can talk about this subject. And this is what made people stop fucking with King World like that. Now, there are people that still fuck with this nigga for some reason. Most of us don't, though. Okay, and it's because he's just so goddamn toxic. But either way, it's the same thing with this, right? When this Jag thing came out and everything was happening, Motherfuckers want to fight over Jag and who can talk about her and who can't and who this and who that. Yeah, that's what was going on. Okay. And now that Donat has, her attention, which, after he gets on her nerves enough, or if he don't do what she wants, eventually she'll move on to somebody else. Right. And that's just what it'll be. But that's just kind of how this has been. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But I can't see why anybody would now at this point, just if without canceling, you two as well, go and cancel Jag. You know what I'm saying? People want to watch this, they want to watch the train wreck. They are going to listen to Jag. They're going to tune in wherever she's at, right? No matter where she goes, no matter who she goes to, they're going to tune in and listen, okay? Because she is news. She is talk worthy, she is something to talk about. She gives you content and so forth. And that's why you two bitches is mad, okay? You two bitches are mad. You two hair flippers are mad because y'all bag has been stopped, okay? And that's what it is, okay? Y'all made thousands of dollars off of this woman in the past few months. Thousands of dollars. Both of you have. I'm talking about super chats, cash apps, merch, all kinds of stuff. Just having quote unquote exclusive interviews, exclusive conversations. Y'all are the only ones that are having, conversations with her while she's in rehab and all these other things. Y'all are the ones with that, and you were making buku money off of this, okay? And your numbers started dropping when people stopped fucking with y'all because it looked like y'all were scamming your own people, okay? That's what it looked like. And so people literally stopped fucking with y'all. Real shit, they did, okay? And now this is where you're at. Now, I will say this. Like I said before about King Payne, when you subscribe to him on Patreon, it's a bit different, right? It's not the same as it is here on YouTube. He drops some content here on YouTube and stuff like that and be like, I need a couple dollars. I understand what he's saying to a sense, but I will say this much. He does have some exclusive receipts. There are some receipts that he gets that are exclusive. Most of them are not, though, okay? There are a lot of things that he gets that you can get right off of Instagram. You can go right somewhere else and get, So I have unsubscribed now from his Patreon, right? Because I know that, what he does there is not, it's not like, it's not bombshell information. There are some bombshells, there are some things, but not, where everything he posts in there is extra bombshell and, it's really that big of a deal. It's not, okay? Y'all can go and subscribe if you want to, but it's not that deep, right? He doesn't really reveal anything that either doesn't get revealed a day later or, or two, or, that we already can't, that we already don't know. You know what I mean? But there might be people that just don't go through social media. So I understand that part of it too. There's people that just don't go through, Instagram and things like that. So they're not privy to stuff. And, their favorite content creator will deliver that to them. Right. But, again, everything isn't worth paying for. There's some stuff you can just go and get for free. You know what I mean? So there's really no point in me paying for these things when I can just go on this person's Instagram and get this, right? Or whatever the case may be. Or I can go and interview this person and get this, right? I don't have to, pay you for that. So I just wanted to make that clear too, because with that being said, people can also say the same thing about the official King Payne, right? When it comes to his Patreon, when it comes to, what he is providing, right? Because like I said, he's not providing much. He's not providing anything that would be, like I said, bombshell or, or anything like that. I got a couple of things from there, especially on Larry Reed and stuff like that, but not really, it wasn't really, like extra. And then, the other things that I saw on there also weren't that big of a deal. particularly, what's on there now is about Jag and getting these T-shirts and buying these cancel Jag T-shirts and and all this stuff. Still trying to make money, off of something instead of just becoming more talented in a sense, or just expanding your palette and doing something else, doing something new, expanding your horizons and talking about some other things, and not realizing that, hey, you can do that too. And you were doing that before Jag, and now you're just kind of stuck on this whole Jag thing. They need to just let it go. You know what I mean? They honestly need to just let it go. Move on. Okay. The Knot is doing his thing now. He got Jag now for now, move on. Because that's literally what it is. I think y'all are just butthurt over the fact that the Knot got his thing going on with them and y'all don't. Okay. And yeah, that's unfortunate for y'all. But either way, guys, I'm actually about to end the show. Let me go ahead and look at y'all comments. Definitely appreciate everybody for being in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button on the way out, okay? But let me go ahead and go up here to what everybody was saying. Hold on one second, guys. Hold on one second. Okay. Hey, I am human first. He said, Sean Davy Way is a vicious roaster. You don't want to fall into his mouth. I'm not worried about Sean Davy Way. There's some people who, are, but he has been dragged for filth by multiple people out here as well. That just comes with the game. Sean does that. He's known for cussing bitches out, dragging women, talking shit about women. He's just known for that. So ain't nobody worried about that pussy ass nigga. Like, that's just what it is. Ain't nobody scared of him. Ain't nobody scared of him. What's up, Riz? Appreciate you being in the building. You said ambient mode. You said the petition says the website has no option to cancel. Right. And that's not true because I actually canceled myself. So I'm not sure why they said that. You said secondly, hey, what's up, ambient mode? You said secondly, Jaguar Wright should be the one providing the kind of customer service and information that you are giving in this video. Instead, she watches rap videos and sings all day. That is very true. That is very true. But, this is Jag we talking about here. You said double exposure. You said this all sounds like a reality show. Okay, child. Most definitely. Riz, you said super facts. What's up, Riz? Appreciate you. Eyes, good morning. I appreciate you being in the building. You said, good morning. I use my Cash App card and simply emailed Cash App and they blocked Philadelphia. That's simple. Right. Like me, I just canceled it myself. Or I made sure that it was at the time when I did it, it was an option to cancel. And then, I wasn't charged anymore. But if I was charged, I would have definitely contacted my bank. You understand what I'm saying? And I would have went through the dispute process. I know how long it takes. And I would have got my money back. Like that would have been easy. Real shit. You said, Miss Murph, you said, hey, Miss Murph, you said the fallout was bound to happen. I'm just surprised it took this long. Me too. Me too. Like, why did it take y'all this long to finally see it, right? Like what we've all been seeing for months and how many people have tried to tell Sean and tried to tell the official King Payne, like, she is scamming you. Why are you giving her a voice? It was particularly that, right? It was, why are you giving this woman, keep giving her a platform for all this destructive behavior? Y'all had no problem with it because it was giving you money. Y'all were getting paid off of it. It was giving you, this is a perfect example, CE, right? This is a perfect example of clicks and views. When you talk about clicks and views in our sector, no, okay? That's not paying anybody. Over there, clicks and views is really a thing, okay? Yes, they were doing this for clicks and views, okay? Because hundreds of thousands of people were tuning in, not 50 people. 50 people tuning into a show is not going to pay you on clicks and views, okay? Thousands of people coming into a show will now go ahead and start ticking up that money for your check on the 21st from YouTube, okay? Yeah. So, let's learn some of this stuff. But yeah, that is one of those particular things. They were doing that for clicks and views, and the money that they were making. And now they're not making nearly as much money. They done lost half of their base. People not watching no more. Sean is getting more watches, but, depending on what he's talking about. But yeah, they're not getting as nearly as many views as they were and so forth, which is affecting their bottom line. And that's why, all of a sudden they got a problem, right? Yeah, so I'm surprised it took them this long too. I says it's funny when the money dry up, how quick people change, right? Hashtag fake outrage. It don't make no goddamn sense. Now all of a sudden they upset and then they bag over shit. But niggas ain't had no problem when Jag was doing all that toxic shit on their channel. They had no problem. Jag was out here dragging their audience members. Jag was on their show dragging their audience members, and they would block the audience member or tell them not to talk shit. Jag is their people's, Jag is their friend, Jag is, their guest, and y'all going to respect their guest and all this stuff. People that actually fucked with them for years, they turned their back on these people for Jag. So, now Jag ain't fucking with them, and here we go now, right? Ciao. Ambient Mode said, it depends on the bank. Some banks are very gracious to their customers when they dispute charges, and others will give you a hard time. TD Bank, for example, sucks. And you're right about that. Now, what happens is, by law, they have to take the actual dispute. Now, you can look that up. This is information that's public, okay? That by law, they must take the dispute. Now, whether they honor the dispute or not is a different story. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't tell you whether a bank will honor it. There's different reasons why they might or might not. It depends on it could depend on various things. I'll give you some examples. It could depend on your history of disputes as well. It could depend on what happened within that situation. It could depend on what that other bank was able to prove. It also can depend on different policies within the bank, right? There's a lot of different reasons why they will deny a dispute, but taking a dispute is a totally different thing, right? And again, like I say, and you're right, some banks will automatically give it back to you. Other banks will, they'll automatically drop it in there. Other banks will wait 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, depending on what it is, depending on how much it is, and so forth and so on. But the bottom line is, ultimately speaking, by law, your bank must take the dispute, okay? They must look at it, okay, at least. So if you're still being charged recurringly every single month, it's because you're not being proactive in that. And like I said, your bank can give you a new card, okay, and stop the recurring charges because there is simply something you got to check off within the Visa system. And that's all, that's universal. That Visa system is universal, okay? So yeah, there's one thing you can check right in there, and it's going to stop any new merchants from getting that new card information, and therefore they won't have that new card number. Okay, so yeah, you got to be proactive in doing that, right? And if you're not, that's unfortunate for you. You said eyes facts. You said good morning, Miss Murph. I mean, Jag was in jail, and the fifth floor. And these two men literally raised money and accepted her phone calls while she was wilding out here during her lowest point. That is 100% facts. They would have taken the calls, raising money to get her out. We need to do this and y'all need to do that, and y'all ain't shit. Y'all people ain't shit. Y'all don't care about people and talking shit about people and everything because they wouldn't raise money for Jaguar. Because people would rather turn their backs on them and be like, I can't fuck with y'all if y'all still dealing with this, right? They would rather do that. And now, because their money has dried up, now they in their bag. He said, we seen Jag literally get evicted on the streets. Exactly. King World people pulled up on her and etc. And now they are appalled. Now they in their feelings, right? Like, it don't make no motherfucking sense. What's up, Lance Christopher? I appreciate you being in the building. I Am Human says, T-Pre, there has been some recent significant updates to the Jag storyline. So apparently Jaguar turning on official Kingpin was a plot concocted by Jag to continue her reality show, but it seems to be backfiring. Oh, I heard that too. And I don't know if that's really true or not. It's possible, right? But if that was the case, I would assume that the official Kingpin was in on the plot as well, right? But I don't know. He said, thank you. These people be ego tripping. I stopped watching. Me too. I've been stopped watching both of them. Like every so often I'll go, like I said, I watch King Payne and I went over to his Patreon because I wanted to get these receipts, right? But like I said, a lot of these receipts he got, they're not really receipts, or they're receipts that anybody can get, right? So why would I pay you for something I can get for free, right? Or from off my own phone. Like I'm not about to do that shit. So canceled you are, okay? And that's what we are, yeah. You said, I don't know, do we need a lesson on stop charges? You literally call your bank and as to block a business from charging you. Like it's so easy. It's so easy. If you write a check to them, you can get the check stopped, right? If you have a recurring charge, and even if they can't, even if the dispute process doesn't go through, you still have the option of changing your card and then making sure that they make sure that your new card information doesn't go out to the merchants. Because to let you guys know, and I'm saying this for a reason, because I want you guys to understand what Visa does. So if you do cancel a service, right? Say I cancel with my cable company and I call the bank and say, hey, they keep charging me. They keep charging me. I've canceled, and they put it through the dispute process. What they'll do also is give me the option to change my card number. Okay. And if I want to change my card, they'll send me out a new card, and they will be sure that this merchant doesn't get this new card number. But every other merchant out here that I have, like say I got my electric company taking money out, I've got my phone company taking money out, they will get my new card information within 60 days. Okay, because Visa does that as a service to people, is to send out your card information to your merchants that have recurring charges on your account. Now, if if there's a particular one that you're disputing, they will make sure that merchant doesn't get your new card information. So that's just a little bank 101 for you as well. So you guys know, right? And you're not just running around here thinking that the bank is taking your money and everybody's taking your money and you don't have nothing, and you don't have no mitigating factors that you can do about it. You said, yeah, so we might have to do a lesson on that. You said, LOL, I don't know. I might start watching now again, clicks and views, right? Well, listen, guys, we out of here because I got to get myself ready for work. I definitely appreciate everybody for coming in today. And again, make sure that y'all do hit that like button on the way out because we are out of here, guys. And I will talk to y'all later. I definitely appreciate y'all coming in today. And peace, guys. Give me a second because, like I said, y'all know this thing be acting crazy. But peace, guys. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate y'all coming in the building.